Hi everyone, welcome to the Shooting Lone Star with Ram from Austin, Texas, and the supporters group out in Texas for Austin Gooners. Hi Ram, how are you?
Amit, what's going on, man? It's good to be back. Hope you've had a good week.
Yeah,
I
well,
know Arsenal hasn't.
apart from the poor performances of Arsenal, I've had an okay week, but yeah, it's like what's getting me down at the moment now is we've still got no transfer business done, only 4 days left, but we'll get into
Yeah,
that. Yeah, we'll get into that a little bit later. First, let's start with the Burnley game. So on our last show, I was speaking to you just ahead of that game, and we're talking about how important it was for us to get the 3 points. We had a poor January, and going into that game, we're expecting a response from the players. After losing the semi-final to Liverpool, playing the team that's bottom of the league, you'll be thinking, okay, the boys will be really up for it, put in a good performance, get the 3 points, and then move on. But that didn't happen. As we know, we played poorly. I don't know what it was. We just seemed really slow and lethargic. I don't think we were pressing them enough, playing at a high tempo enough, and we didn't create enough chances. There was only one real clear-cut chance, the one that Lacazette missed. That was a big miss. He really should have scored that. But
hmm
to create so little against a team that's bottom of the league and we're at home, I really find that surprising and poor of us. And I was really surprised of Arteta's tactics as well. So yeah, what were your thoughts on the game?
yeah. I mean, just to echo a lot of what you said, I think we really struggled to take advantage of the opportunity, right? I mean, it was one of those games where, yeah, everything was kind of laid out for us, right? It was the worst team in the league, bottom of the table. We obviously have this huge opportunity to win the 3 points and then end the week in the top four and just kind of have that morale boost to kind of get rid of all the ugly stuff that's gone on in the past month. And it was just, I remember being at the bar and everybody was just kind of annoyed by how, why weren't we up like 2-0, 3-0 at the half? Because like we're better than them. And it was just one of those games. I mean, even early on, I think maybe by the 25th minute, I started hearing rumblings like, oh man, it's going to be one of those, like, we've seen this before. I don't know if it had to do. I think it had a lot to do with maybe, Sambi Lokonga being by himself, like in the middle of the midfield, and just not having that support right next to him. But it just seemed to be very like kind of nervous. And I don't know if that's the right word. Maybe it was just apprehensive to push the ball forward. And even some of the guys in the back, I think maybe even Tomiyasu being out and having, White usually is a lot quicker in getting the ball up, and Holding was just kind of I don't know. I just think everybody was just off, and it just didn't bode well. I mean, we did have that one stretch where Lacazette had that chance that he should have put it away. But then I think outside of that, before that and then after that, it was just we probably even deserved to lose that game. But thankfully, at least we came out with a point. But it was just a really disheartening performance to watch, man. I was disappointed.
Really disappointing. What did you think of Arteta's tactics? So I was really surprised he didn't change it up. He left it to so late to make a substitute. I know our bench was weak, but there were some
Mhm.
options for him to maybe take Kieran Tierney off and put on Traves, because Tierney wasn't offering anything going forwards. And we know
Yeah.
Traves is a good attacking fullback, so maybe that would have been a change. Also on the right side, Ben White's not a right back, as we know. He's playing out of position, wasn't getting forward enough. Maybe bring a Callum Chambers on. And also we have a young players like Amari Hutchinson and Charlie Patino. I know they're still really young and they're maybe not ready for first team football, but in a situation like that, you're struggling to break the team down. Maybe put players on like that who Burnley want to see much of. So there's a chance
Mhm.
that because they've not seen much of them, they're not prepared for that and their style of playing, they will maybe find a way of unlocking the defense. But Arteta done nothing. Just it was a token substitution. So late in the game, bringing on Nketiah, and yeah, just I thought the tactics were really poor from him throughout that game. He should have had the players really motivated in that first half. We really should have been going for them, but it was just slow and yeah, just really disappointing. So yeah, what were your thoughts on that?
Um, but yeah, my big question, when he was bringing on Eddie Nketiah, I think the first thought I thought was why? Like, why bring him on? He doesn't really bring anything. I mean, the goals he scored this year have been against like in the Carabao Cup, right? Probably.
Yeah.
He hasn't really done anything to like merit even first team football in like the Premier League. I don't know. Yeah, it was just very disappointing. I mean, maybe it has a lot to do with just being, having nobody on the squad. I would have liked to see Patino come in, maybe, to I don't know, just to kind of throw a spark in there, but like to have Nketiah and Lacazette in there, it's like, well, what is Nketiah really contributing, especially if you needed a goal. Um,
Yeah, but that's
I don't
another
know.
thing.
I
So,
feel like
you need a goal, and then
Mhm.
you're taking off Emil Smith Rowe and bringing on Nketiah. You're better off taking off a defender, even, putting three at
That's
the
what
back.
I would think, right?
You're just
Maybe
going for it. Like, just we need to get the win. So just put in more effort and resources going forwards.
I'm wondering, yeah, that might have been that's actually yeah what you just said. Yeah, maybe taking off holding because I was over holding like after the first 20 minutes. I'm like, yeah, that's not going to work out, man. Um, but yeah, I think maybe taking him out and keeping Smith Rowe in and just going all out to get that goal because I mean it wasn't like they were tearing us up on the attack. Like I mean they were just sitting back there and letting us dribble the ball around and doing whatever, and then maybe try and steal like a counter attack. But I mean our defense was playing pretty solidly. Everybody was doing well, right? So it wasn't like they were threatening. So I don't know why like we ended up having to take Smith Rowe. My only thought would be like maybe he is coming off like being injured or whatever. So maybe his fitness wasn't all the way up there. But I mean, the boys now have like 2 weeks in Dubai to kind of recover, unless he was like hurting or something. I don't see what they would have taken him off at that point in the game. Because I mean, let me look. Like I'm trying to look it up of where they put him off. 77th minute. I mean, maybe if you do that, then why not put him on like in the 70th or like 65th minute, like, and really just go for it. But I don't know. I think maybe Arteta was just at that point just happy to just go for the draw and get the guys out of there. Which I don't know, man. I was real disappointed. I mean, because I said 2-0, I thought we were gonna put in some goals. I thought it would be tough, but I thought we'd get 2-0. We couldn't even get one on those guys.
They've really struggled in January. We only scored one goal in the whole month. That was right at the start on the 1st of January, the goal we scored against City. After that, we haven't scored a goal in the whole month, and we've actually had more red cards than goals scored in the month. So January's just been a disaster, and
Yeah.
what's not helping it is our lack of activity in the transfer window as well. Now there's only 4 days left, and so the news that came out today is another player's actually left. It's like the 5th or 6th player that's left us now in this January transfer window. Callum Chambers has gone to Aston Villa, and with regards to Callum Chambers, I think he's been with us for a long time. He's had a few quite bad injuries, we know, but he's had good performances in him. Like one of them good performances was against Liverpool away recently, where he does remind you that he has got ability, but he's just never been consistent enough, and that's why he's not been able to hold down a first team place. And yeah, I wish him well. Good luck to him at Aston Villa, but I don't think it's much of a loss for us. And he's not the caliber of player we need to be progressing as a club. So, but now that puts us even shorter in the right back position because now Tommy Yasuva reports that he's going to be out for a little while still. So it means we've only really got Cedric there that can play as a right back. So that's the position we have to look at. Centre midfield, as we know as well, we've been saying that all month, that needs to be strengthened. And then striker as well. But, we've missed out on the big fish we were talking about last week. Vlahovic, he's gone to Juventus. So now we're in a situation where 4 days left. Who are we going to buy? And are we going to buy? What's your thoughts?
Yeah. Actually, you know what? I was talking with some buddies of mine in the unit group. When the word came out that Chambers was out, I was already kind of thinking ahead. I know he does play right back, but it maybe seems like we're starting to just kind of clear out a little bit of the players in the defenders area, just because now I started thinking the first player I thought of was William Saliba. I know he's at Marseille. I mean, I know this is a big stretch, but that's the first thing I thought was like, oh man, like now we can bring that guy in and he can start contributing. I know that's not going to happen until next year, but I think in the shorter term, listen, man, like yeah, I was already kind of putting all my hopes into Vlahovic, and when Juventus just kind of came in and swept him away and took him from us, like like my heart just sank, man. So I don't know. I mean, I'm hoping we get. I hope we get somebody, but I hope it's just not for the sake of like just bringing someone in. And I did actually have a question for you because I've admitted already, like I'm not like the longest running soccer fan, like football fan. Like I'm kind of still getting into like the cadence of everything that goes on. Am I right to think like, oh, we're selling all these players, we're getting rid of all this, like we'll call it dead weight? Does that mean like we're gonna start like do you feel like we're gonna maybe pull in like a bunch of people in these last 4 days? I mean, is that what we're doing? Are we just clearing the books to like add players? I mean, what's like I don't get.
Well, the thing is that for quite some time we have had some players that, as you're saying, dead weight, dead wood, and they need to be sold. But it was difficult for us to sell them. But some of these players we have been trying to sell for a while, or to get them out on loans as well. Some of them, like for younger ones, Balogun's gone to Middlesbrough. That's just to give him some experience. But the likes of Callum Chambers, I think Ainsley Maitland-Niles as well. He's gone on loan. I'm not sure if Arteta's got him in his long-term plans or not. Is it a loan that with the option for Roma to buy him, and that's something that we want to do, is to sell him? I'm not sure the exact situation with some of them, but I think normally you'd say that okay, you're getting players out, that frees up some space in the squad to get players in, and with the finances, the salaries, we're not really getting any transfer fees. So like Kolasinac went by mutual agreement, so we got nothing for him, and the rest of them were, apart from Callum Chambers, the rest of them were out on loan. So it takes their wages off our wage bill, but we're not getting transfer fees. I don't know how much we got for Callum Chambers, but I wouldn't have thought it would have been too much. And I don't know how much money there is to spend. There was a report that Arteta came out to America and to meet Stan Kroenke. We don't know what it's about. I would hope it's to say to him that, look, we're struggling, we need some more money. But maybe it's about his contracts. Apparently, they're looking to offer him a contract extension, which is ridiculous because it's far too soon for that. I think they need to see how he goes the rest of his season. And based on that, then maybe offer him a contract extension. But if we're finishing down 7th or 8th place again, then I wouldn't be looking to give him any sort of contract extension. We're considering to sack him, if anything, So, it's all a bit messy with us right now. So, all right, we've got some of these players out, but what are we doing to bring players in? And why are we leaving it so late? We've known the squad's short, and it's been proven the case throughout January. We've really struggled. They should have seen that. If they needed any reminders of it in the Nottingham Forest match, they would have seen that, with the players that we had missing, we really struggled. It was a really, really poor performance. Like we're playing against a championship team. We couldn't even get a shot on target. That's ridiculous. So it's just not good enough. So, it's worrying. I think we will get a couple of players in, but is it the caliber of players that, we want to see at Arsenal? I'm not so sure that how much money's there. And January in general is always a difficult transfer window to get business done. So I'm not sure like if we're going to get some big name players in, but I think they'll get a couple of players in, maybe one signing, one loan. Ideally, like I say, we need a right back, centre midfielder and striker. So we can get 3 players in, that would be great. But who then? So if you look at some of the people being linked at in the striker position, there's Alexander Isak. I don't know much about him, but I was speaking on the show I do with a fan that's in Sweden, and he knows more about him because he's Swedish and plays for the national team. And he said he's a good player. He's young. He's doing well at Real Sociedad now, and he's done well in the national team. And he feels that he will improve us. But the question mark with that is that, Premier League, it's a different league. He will need some time to adjust. So we need someone that's going to be able to come in and make an immediate impact. So if you're looking at that option, you might look at Aston Villa's Ollie Watkins or Everton's Calvin Lewin. Again, we don't know if we'll be able to get them, the money involved, are the clubs willing to sell? So there's not any concrete, the concrete link that we had throughout the transfer window was with Vlahovic. I mean, like you say, Juventus came in and they've got him now. So I don't know what the board and Arteta's backup plan for that whole situation was and is now. So let's see what they're going to come up with. Centre midfield will be linked with Arthur Melo from Juventus.
Yeah.
And again, it's just been going on all month. Apparently there's like a difference in opinions on how long the loan should be. Juventus are pushing for it to be like an 18-month loan. We're more like just asking for end of the season. And that's kind of, it's a situation where it's not progressed and there's only 4 days left now. So If we get him in, from the reports I've not seen much of him, but I've read reports that he's a good player. I read a report of Messi talking about him, saying that he really impressed him during training at Barcelona.
Uh,
So if we could get him in, that would help us in centre midfield. Right back, like I say, now with the news of Callum Chambers going out, we've got to look to get someone in, because I don't think Cedric as backup to Tommy is strong enough. So where we go with that, hopefully we can get someone in. But if we do, in all three positions, that'll definitely go a long way to helping us in our lack of squad depth, and helping us to try and push for the top four.
yeah, there was another player. His name's Jonathan David. He plays for Lille.
Yeah.
We were kind of linked with him, but I think that's cooled off a little bit. And then Mello, Arthur Mello, I looked it up right now, and it's off of FotMob. And the article I'm reading says, as it stands, their Arsenal's not in formal negotiations to get that going. So that might have been what Arteta was doing in America, trying to just see like what the deal was with that. So I don't know, man. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think everything. I agree with everything you said. I really don't know. I was kind of hoping when we talked today, like something cool would have happened. We did get an American goalkeeper from the from the New England Revolution. What's his name? Turner. But that's not. Oh, Matt Turner. He's MLS goalkeeper of the year for last year. He's I think the backup goalkeeper for Team USA. So he's gonna come over in the summer. So I think that's gonna provide some good. I guess long term, I think that's a good thing. Like that means Leno's probably on his way out. But looks like we got a backup keeper now, which I think is a good thing. And especially someone like Matt Turner, being an MLS fan, I've watched him a little bit, and he's the real deal for MLS standards. But I think he's going to grow, and it's going to be exciting, at least for American fans, to have another player in the Premier League. But yeah, outside of that, I don't even know who else. I don't know, man. Like all the names that I've looked up, to talk about, like I've struck out with, because we're not signing them. We're not signing them. Like, I mean, would it be bad if we just like? How would you feel if, like, worst case scenario, nobody gets signed? I mean, is that like, how are we reacting as a fan base? Is that going to be like
I think
a
there'll be a lot of uproar, because
yeah,
you see that we're really lacking, especially in, like I say, right back. Okay, you can say, okay, we have got two players that are able to play there, and they've been putting Ben White out there as well. But in centre midfield, you saw when Partey and Xhaka were not available, we're really thin in that area. Lokongo's young still, he's not, I'd say, up to the standards to be a good replacement for Xhaka or Partey. And then Charlie Patino is very young still. And then he's due to come back. But again, he's not, I don't think he's of a quality that we need to try and get that top four place. So there's an issue with that. And then in the striking department, right, so if you gave me a choice between just getting one player in the three departments, I'd go for centre midfield. Because in the striking department, I feel that there is a way for us to get Aubameyang back in the team, back in the squad, first of all. Get him on the bench. Hopefully he'll come on, score a couple of goals, get his confidence back. And then we can start starting him in some games. And he still, to me, has something to offer in terms of scoring goals. All right, he's not at his peak where a couple of years ago when he was getting a high number of goals, but he's a proven goal scorer. So I think if we can get his confidence back, I don't know what's going on between him and Arteta, but if we don't get a striker in, and we've not sold Aubameyang, so the reports are that he's not joining the team in Dubai for that training camp. He's staying in London. And they're saying it's to work on his fitness, but they're going to Dubai to work on their fitness and work on their tactics. So why did he need to stay in London and he couldn't go to Dubai with the team? Is it Arteta trying to keep him away from the team? Like, I don't know what something has gone on. Obviously, we know between him and Arteta, but I don't see why I can't just say, okay, cool, he's punished him, right? But let's move on from it now. We need him. Especially if we're not signed a striker, we need him 100%. Like, you can see bringing on Nketiah, that's just not good enough. Who would you rather bring on, Aubameyang or Nketiah? Aubameyang. So that needs to be resolved. Integrating back into the team, and he had a chance to do it in this camp they're going through in Dubai. Should have put him back in the team. If they're going to sell him, then maybe that's why they kept him back in London. We're going to find out in the next 4 days. But if they sell Aubameyang, then we must get a striker. Like there will be serious uproar if we sell Aubameyang. There's no striker in, no other positions have been strengthened. It's just not going to make any sense. And I find it hard to believe we won't get anyone in. But yeah, speaking to the fans, here outside the stadium after our last game at Burnley, that's what they were saying. Like, we have to get players in. It's not optional. Like you can't just say, let's just hang on till summer, because we've got this chance now, here and now, to get the top four. We're still in there. All right, we have this bad result against Burnley. We've had a poor January, but
we're right there. We're right there.
Yeah, we're right there. If we can get on a good run, and like I say, improve our squad depth, start winning games again, get on a good consistent run, we've got a great chance of top four. So it's now time. They've got 4 days. Maybe they're going to surprise us. Yeah, the players we're seeing, they're being linked with, like, nothing's getting done so far, but maybe they're going to surprise us with players that they've not been linked with, and we're all going to be like, wow, like we were in the summer, where we weren't too sure about Ben White, about Ramsdale, and they turned out to be really good signings. So maybe there's going to be a couple of players like that we've not been linked with so far, and that when we do sign them, we're not too sure about it, but it turns out to be really good signings. We've just got to hope for something. We're going to find out next few days, big few days for us. Just wanted to ask you about Arteta's situation. So now we're talking about this contract extension, which is ridiculous. We're saying because of Man City, maybe Pep will be leaving, and because of that, they're worried about that situation. So they want to tie Arteta down to a longer contract. So I want to ask you first on your thoughts on like Arteta as a manager, on how you think he's been doing for us. Should we be looking to give him a contract extension? And if not, then and we decide to wait till end of the season to see how he's performing. What would you do if we don't make the top four? Would you keep him or would you sack him?
So I guess the first part of it, I like I like what he's done since he's come in. Obviously it's been a little bit shaky. He had a tall task ahead of him. And again, I'm kind of framing this in my experience of, seeing the way the football looked with Unai Emery, and then just kind of how it all just kind of went downhill from there. And then when he came in, where he started out and where we are today, I like the progress that's been made. I like the idea, or I like the shift that we've made towards, a younger squad. Everybody's, young, ready to buy in. The team seems to be like cohesive, and everybody's happy, and everybody's, part of something bigger, or they understand they're part of something bigger. I do have like some reservations as far as like how he deals with people who aren't all in, because I feel like the people who are all in, like they're all in, they're probably easier to manage versus somebody who like you want to just kind of get out, right? So you get them out, and then it's just always like it seems to be like the ones in the middle are the ones that I'm kind of nervous about how Arteta's dealing with them. The most current example being, Aubameyang. Like I feel like it's almost a little bit excessive to not have him come to Dubai with the squad and like use that time to bring him in and mend all the the wounds that have happened over the past month or so. So I'm kind of a little bit nervous as to like, and then kind of like how it went with Guendouzi, and I'm probably missing somebody else, but like it seems like once you're out of Arteta's favor, you're out and you're done. So I'm a little bit like, I don't know, like that's kind of like my one main like critique or concern about him. It's like he just seems to be like a dictator, and I guess it works, but we're also seeing it like kind of maybe backfire a little bit. I don't think he's should be getting any kind of contract extension. I think unless of course we get top four or like Europa. Like if we get that Europa conference thing, like where you're like in 7th place and get to be like on that 3rd tier Europa tournament, I don't think that's even like worthy of getting any kind of extension. But I think if we can get top 4 for sure, I would say, all right, like I'm sold. Europa, maybe, just depending on how we look towards the end of the season. I mean, if we like really stumble and really blow a chance at top 4, then who knows? I don't know. I'm just not. I'm sold, but I'm also not sold on him. Like I think it's way too early to like do that. But I mean, what can I do, man? I kind of want to see everything play out first. But right now I'm Arteta in. I've been sold enough for Arteta for a while, but it's a little early. That's all I'll say.
Okay. And in terms of your supporters group out there in Austin, what would you say the general opinion is on Arteta and how he's been performing for us?
I think it's a little bit 50-50. Maybe more so. There's folks who are probably saying a little bit more of a line in the sand of saying it's either top four or you get sacked. And I'm a little bit more like, all right, but what if we get into Europa League? Is that like good enough? Like, yes, no, but no. Some people want top four, and I get it. Like that's cool, and I want top four, and I want Champions League. But I also think if we can at the very least get some, European football and get some more games, and then that's just gonna like I think that's progress, right? Because we've fallen off, and we don't have Europe. If we have Europe, then that's kind of a little bit of an improvement. But I mean, I guess once we made it into the top four and started tasting that feeling like, oh shit, we're in the mix, the standards raised, obviously, right? Because we're Arsenal. So yeah, I think for the most part, I think yeah, it's top four or you got to go. And if that happens, I wouldn't be upset at that either. I'm just a little bit more like, oh, I kind of want him to stay because I like what's happening. I maybe wished it was happening quicker in terms of like the transition that's happening, but I like what the culture that's being built. But I wish it got built a little bit quicker. And I'm kind of worried, like, if he does get sacked, like, what happens to the culture that does get built? Like, hopefully we do bring somebody in who's gonna, you know, carry the torch and continue the progress that has been made. So, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, just looking at the top four situations, looking at the teams around us on the weekend, Man United really annoying the fact that they got that last minute injury time goal against West Ham. I was happy thinking that it's going to be a 0-0 draw. There'll be drop points for both teams, but yeah, they went and won it right at the end. So did you get a chance to see that match?
I watched the whole thing, man, and I will say this: if that goal was in the Emirates, and if it was the Arsenal that scored that goal, that's offsides, like 100%. I don't know what the feeling is around over there, but I mean, when we're watching the games, man, there's definitely like a feeling that there's some anti-Arsenal bias within those referees, man, because that
Oh,
was, I mean, I don't know, like, and then again, like, what is offsides? What's not offsides? Like, that's still something I'm trying to come to terms with as far as understanding. Like in American football, like what's a catch? What's not a catch? If you watch one American football game, you're gonna find yourself asking like, what are they even talking about when it comes to the catch? Like, oh yeah, you caught it. Like this offside thing, like it kind of blows my mind sometimes. But yeah, I'm watching that and I'm like, oh, that looks a little offsides. And then I think I saw somewhere on Twitter, like I don't know who we were playing, but Pepe was in the picture, and it was a very similar situation. And the screenshot shows that they had decided to call it offsides. So anyway, like they got the win. It's fine, whatever. I'm a little bit obviously very annoyed because I don't think they deserved it, right? Like sometimes you win and you're like, oh, they didn't deserve it. I don't think they deserve that win. West Ham was also probably didn't deserve a win either. That's probably one of those that should have ended a 0-0. But oh man, like that really like just kind of drove the stake deeper into my heart, right? Like you see them win and you're like, damn it, like we didn't need that. And then the next day, what happens? Of course, we finished 0-0, and that was annoying.
yeah, man. After our game, it was Chelsea Tottenham, and Tottenham losing is good anytime, but at this time it was even more important for us because they got games in hands, and in a battle for the top four, it was important that they lost, so they can't get ahead of us. Did you get to see the Chelsea Tottenham game?
I saw the first goal. I didn't get to watch the whole match. I saw maybe the first 15 minutes, and then I saw the first goal, and I had some other stuff to do. But man, that goal by I guess his name is Hakeem Ziyech.
Yeah.
Ziyech. That was that's a worldie, man. That's gonna be on like all the films like at the end of the year, like goal of the year. Like that was something else, man. I give it to Chelsea, man. Like they are scoring some bangers. Now I'm gonna chill on like giving them a bunch of compliments, but because fuck Chelsea. But like, damn it, man, like it was good to see Spurs lose that match because that was definitely something we need. Because right now we're still like, I'm trying to pull up a table right now, but we're still like in the mix, man. We're like, we're at sixth place. We had 36 points, still at Tottenham. Well, we're tied with them, but I think we have more bigger goal differential, so we're good there. But yeah, like, and Man United's at 38, West Ham's at 37. We got 2 games or 1 game in hand against Man United, 2 against West Ham. So like, yeah, we're right there. So like, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, we had an amazing opportunity to just be sitting in 4th place and be ahead of the curve against these other squads. And like, we blew it. And it was really like, I'm telling you, man, the last 15 minutes there at the tavern, it was just so gloom and doom because we're like, that's it. Fourth is out of the question now. Like, we needed this win. We needed this win. It's going to come to bite us in the ass. But then the mood kind of changed afterwards when we saw the Tottenham score. So it's just like a roller coaster of emotions, man. I haven't had a chance to watch that match, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna maybe end up watching it. Just there's not a lot of matches going on that we're in the international break, so sometimes I do like to watch matches on replay. So I might watch that one just to see. I like watching Tottenham getting battered. Kind of lifts my spirits up a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, as you say, it's all to play for still with that top 4. Let's hope we do get that transfer business done. And that'll really aid us to get in the top 4. But if we look at now some of the other Premier League games, did you get a chance to see the Man City game? They dropped points for the first time in a long time. You would call it a slip up, but you can't really say it's a slip up. They won 12 games in a row and they drew 1. So they did drop 2 points. Did you get to see the game?
I did. I watched that whole match. And that was a beautiful, beautiful goal by the Southampton player. That's who they played, right? They were against Southampton. It was good, beautiful team soccer. I enjoyed it. Like, it was amazing to watch. Hey, man, are you a Marvel MCU fan? Do you watch
Marvel. So
MCU?
my kids, like, they're well into the Marvel stuff, but yeah, I
Are you
know it
from
because of my kids a little bit, but I don't really follow it too much. But yeah, tell me.
there's a line that Thanos says, the enemy, he goes, "I am inevitable." Like, and he's just saying, like, no matter what you do, like, I'm inevitable. And that's what I feel about Man City. Like, they are Thanos. Those guys are inevitable. So when they scored that goal, I just was like, of course they did. Like, they're not gonna lose. Like, come on. But man. But I mean, it was good to see them not win. But that goal, watching them score, I don't even remember who scored that match or scored that goal in that match. But like, it was just like, whatever. Like, I've given up on like losing. I've lost hope in like watching Man City lose. Like, I don't think it's gonna happen. A friend of mine's a big Liverpool fan, so he's like really, really wanting them to lose. And I'm like, hey man, that's good luck, man, because I don't know how I would be acting in his position. I would be so stressed out watching those games, and then so upset when they inevitably win because that's just a good team, man. Like, they are top to bottom. Just that's what we want to be, right? In 2 to 3 years time, like, we want to have just so many good. I mean, they started like Jack Grealish, and that guy hadn't played all year, and like, they spent £100 million on that guy, and he just is sitting on the bench, and then he just plays against Southampton, and they get a draw, and like, they just have so much talent, like, in every position you're seeing them, and like Foden, Grealish, Sterling, Silva, Rodri, De Bruyne. Like, goddamn, man, I hate that squad. I hate them so much. They're good though. I mean,
It is a really strong squad. Like you say, they can just put players in and out. Rest a couple of players, bring a couple of players who are bringing to replace them will be just as good, world-class players. And yeah, we hopefully one day can get towards that level. In terms of the Premier League title race, do you think it's done? You think City will go on and win it, or you think Liverpool still got a chance?
I think, well, the fact that City dropped points and then Liverpool ended up winning, I believe.
Yeah, they had this 3-1.
And they got 1 game in hand, and one of them is, I mean, they still have to play each other.
Yeah.
So that could be like a 6-point swing. Maybe. I mean, it'd be nice to see like a title race versus just now, the 2-3. I mean, because it seems to be like right now it's Man City by themselves, and then second and third place kind of locked up between Liverpool and Chelsea, and then the fourth spot open. Us, United, West Ham, Spurs, Wolves are kind of in there as well. Like, so it would be nice to see the title race open up a little bit. And who knows? I mean, that might put pressure on some of these other clubs. And we still have games against Chelsea. I think we have another one against Liverpool. Obviously, we play Man United again. We play West Ham. I just think if the title race is open, that just means the soccer is going to be a lot more free flowing. There's going to be more chances taken, and I think that helps a team as not as low as us, but a team in our position who's fighting for a fourth spot. Like, I kind of want the title race to open up a little bit so that shit could happen. Teams can get their heart broken, and who knows, maybe they go on like a losing streak, and then we end up playing them, and then we take advantage of it, and then boom. So I think I'm kind of leaning towards like it's probably over, but we're right. Like, there's a small chance that it's going to be an open race, and I'm kind of hoping that Liverpool steps up and does something, because it'll be, if it's going to be a title race, I think it's going to be between Liverpool and Man City. I don't think Chelsea, unless they, I mean, it's crazy too, because they're like 1 point behind Liverpool, but I don't know if they're going to be able to keep up with them. I think, I don't know. They just don't seem as invincible as Liverpool or Man City.
Yeah, I think as well it's between Man City and Liverpool.
Mm-hmm.
I just think though there's still some important games coming up with the Champions League, that phase. Man City, we know the big one they're after is the Champions League, so maybe they'll take their eye off the ball a little bit in the Premier League. That could result in them dropping some points, and that would give Liverpool a chance. But obviously Liverpool have to be consistent and keep winning themselves.
Yeah.
So I think it's still open. I don't think it's done yet. There's still a chance for Liverpool. And it'll be interesting to see, as you say, it makes it more interesting watching the Premier League when the title battle is still on. So let's see how that goes. Let's see what happens with us over the next few days in the transfer window. And hopefully on our show next week, we're talking about some great transfer business being done by Arteta and board.
One more thing I wanted to bring up for sure. So a couple things. Senegal and Egypt are still in the AFCON tournament. So that means Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah are still off the roster for Liverpool. So maybe that actually might hurt them. And that might benefit us, because Ivory Coast ended up losing in the Arsenal derby against Egypt. So Elneny moves on, but Pepe's done. So hopefully, maybe Pepe serves as a de facto transfer into the club, right? Maybe I've actually watched his games in AFCON, and I think he's done really well. And I'm hoping that Arteta also watched him and is considering bringing him back in, and at the very least, using him to kind of spell Bukayo Saka on the right hand side or something, because I think Pepe has shown enough flash to kind of be inserted into the team, and I think that can only help us. So I just wanted to kind of throw that in there. Like, we're getting Pepe back. Elneny, may not come back for a while, but I don't think that's going to be like a crucial piece as much as I think Pepe will. Pepe coming back into the squad, hopefully, and I'm just a fan, right? So hopefully Arteta's obviously a lot smarter than me, so hopefully he's seen what Pepe's done the past few weeks and decided, all right, let's put him in the squad right now, because I think that could help as well, because he's still dynamic. He looks good out there. Hopefully next week we have some good talking points, because I was a little sad going into this because it's not turned out how I hoped, but there's always next week.
Yeah, we've got to keep optimistic. What you say about Pepe is true. He could be valuable for us in terms of improving the depth of the squad. And we saw the bench has been so weak recently. So having the likes of Pepe on there, as I was saying, should get Aubameyang back in as well. And then that depth and giving the options to Arteta off the bench to bring players on that can potentially change the game and score a winning goal, which is what we really needed against Burnley. So yeah, let's hope Pepe, he's been up and down, been really inconsistent since we bought him. So he's shown some flashes of brilliance, but it's not been consistent enough. So hopefully, he's taken some confidence of his good performances for Ivory Coast, and he brings that confidence and form back here when he's playing for us, and yeah, helps us towards winning some games. And that's the first thing we need to be doing, is concentrating on winning some games, because we've not won a game in so long. It's just, it feels
Yeah.
like so long ago the last time we won, back in December. So yeah, let's hope February's going to be a better month for us. And yeah, let's first of all hope the next 4 days we get that transfer business done. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Hopefully, we'll be both smiling more, happier, and more positive for the rest of the season.
I feel that, man, for sure.